what value is that relationship? If it has no value to the person you're meeting, then why would they remember you? And look at your own lives. Do you remember everyone you've met?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending today's PDF webinar. I'm Frankie Gunawan, and I'll be the moderator for the event tonight. The topic for today's talk is, it is not who you know, it is who knows you. Before we start the talk, I just want to give a quick introduction to PDF for those of you who might be new to us. Can I please have a thumb up if you are new to this PDF event? Yay,
Yay, welcome.
All right, at PDF, we believe that everyone, not just the elite few, should have access to the right tools, techniques, and networks to develop themselves. We believe that by becoming the best version of ourselves, we will all lead more fulfilling life and inspire those around us to do the same. And we do this by running events that aim to inform, connect, inspire, and then we share what we learn with our community on social media. I also want to quickly acknowledge our dedicated group of volunteers at PDF who are here with us tonight. Thank you very much for everything you do. Before we begin, I'd like to lay down some housekeeping rules. Please note, this is a recorded session that may be distributed by social media at a future date. And also, I would like to invite everyone to update your name and then turn on your camera so that we can better connect with each other. Finally, if you have any questions during the talk, please feel welcome to type them into the chat box at any time. When we get to the Q&A part of the sessions, we will invite you to ask your questions. We'll aim to finish by 8 p.m. tonight. Okay, so now on to tonight's event. Tonight, we are lucky to have Robert Hossary as our special guest, who will share his advice on how to create a powerful network or contact within your circles. A little bit about Robert. Robert is a well-traveled international businessman who has worked in many countries. Currently, he is the commercial manager of Laser Craft, which is an Australian disability enterprise. But Robert was also formerly the general manager of the American Chambers of Commerce in Australia, where he had to do a lot of networking, advising both Australian and US companies on international expansions. Robert also has a very diverse background, working in many different fields, including technology, transport, fashion, and healthcare. Throughout that experience, Robert has become a true master at using networking to create great opportunities. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Robert.
Thank you, Frankie. Thank you all for coming. And I'm very honored to see so many people here. And to those who come to support me, who have known me from a previous life, thank you directly from me. I'm going to share with you now just some slides that will take us through this whole presentation. So if you have a problem seeing it, let me know. But can you all see that? I'm going to take your
yes,
silence.
We can see.
Okay, good. So before we start, let me preface what I'm about to say with this. Everybody, no matter your profession, everybody's a salesperson, always selling something, whether it's an idea, whether it's a concept, whether it's a theory if you're an academic, whether it's a product or a service. Everybody sells. If you're in a warehouse, you are selling the company by the way that you present yourself to people and the quality of the work you do for your clients. So just keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this. Many years ago, I was told, and I'm sure that you were all taught the same thing, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And for many years, I believed that. And then I stopped believing that because it became very obvious that who you know is irrelevant unless they know you. So the reality of the situation is it's not who you know anymore. I don't think it ever was. It's who knows you. Let me illustrate that. Maybe if I hit the page down button. I was going to go through and tell you who I am, but I think Frankie's done a great job. I have worked since 1981. I've worked in a multitude of industries. I've worked for how many? I've written this down, 12 different organizations. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a son. I have 3 sons. I have a daughter. I'm just like you. The difference is that I have learned all these lessons and I'm happy to share them with you now. So let's just have a look at this. So if you can all see this page, you might have to minimize some of your screen there with all of the different videos. But on this page, we've got 4 New South Wales premiers, 2 Australian prime ministers, CEOs, 2 US vice presidents, 2 US 2 ambassadors, and I can name them all. And the point is this: I have actually sat down and had lunch with all of these people. I've had conversations with all of these people, sometimes multiple conversations and multiple lunches with them. And I can guarantee you one thing. Can you actually see all these people on the screen, by the way? Okay. Out of all of these, with the exception of Anthony Albanese, who I went to school with, none of these people know who I am. None of these people will return my call. Now, that's the first lesson. That's what I want to share with you today. That while I can sit and drop names and say, yes, I've met Joe Biden, who might be the next president of the United States. Yes, I know him. I've met him. I've spoken to him. I've had lunch with him. He wouldn't have a clue who I am. And that's an important thing. I've met John Howard about 5 times. The man would not know who I am. It's not that uncommon. This is the point, that it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So let me just take it. Just because you have met somebody does not mean that you'll be remembered by them. You know, I think it was your speaker last week, Ranil, who said, look at your value ecosystem. And I say the same thing to you. What value is that relationship? If it has no value to the person you're meeting, then why would they remember you? And look at your own lives. Do you remember everyone you've met? I put my hand up and say, no, I don't. And that's the whole point. You know, you've got to add value to your contacts. So networking today, as the slide says, networking today is about making real connections. We've all got LinkedIn. So let me ask you this: how many contacts do you have? I've got about 3,000. I know some of you might have, upwards of 10,000 contacts. Some of you might have 50. But the real question is, do you know your contacts, or are you just collecting them? Yeah, this is it. When my younger cadet days, it was a case of how many contacts you have in your black book, how many on your Rolodex, how many business cards do you have. Those days are gone. I've got a lot of names and phone numbers. So what? I can't use them because I can't form a connection with these people because they don't know who I am and they won't pick up the phone to me. Some of them will, most of them won't. But that's why I've only got 3,000 connections on my LinkedIn, because I know 85% of them. I will connect with people I know, I've had a conversation with, and here is the important point. I can collaborate with them. I can help them and connect them. So can you collaborate with your contacts? Do you know what they want? Can you help them? How often do you communicate with them? And realistically, the most important question, why are you connected with them? So just let me refer to some of my notes so I keep on track, because we've got a limited amount of time before Q&A. How many contacts in your network even know who you are? How do you use your LinkedIn? You know, do you all consider LinkedIn as Facebook for business? That's your first mistake. LinkedIn is a very, very powerful tool. And in these days of COVID, where I would be advocating, and you will see in the following slide, I will be advocating that you go to real events. I'm not advocating that right now, not until we get all this behind us. But you need to make a real connection with people. So how do you do that virtually? By collaborating with them. I've only met Jeffrey a couple of weeks ago, and yet we are collaborating together on a project because Jeff can see the value in what I bring to the table. I see the value of what he brings to the table. We spoke and we started a project together. That's what collaboration is. I have connected people to other opportunities. People in my network that I know will benefit from being connected to other people in my network. And that's what makes you valuable, and that's what makes you memorable. Do your connections come to you and seek help or advice? Do you give it to them? Do you seek help or advice from your connections? And if not, why not? You know, what are you doing? Just collecting a whole bunch of names on LinkedIn to say, hey, look at me? You know, how many of your connections go out of their way to help you with opportunities? I can tell you from the list of people that have joined this seminar tonight, there's at least 5 people that I've seen that I know and who know me, who I can turn to and ask for help, and they will help me with an opportunity. And I'll give you a real life example. I came back from the US in 2009. And at that time, I was looking for employment back in Australia. I came back for various reasons. Let's not worry about that. But I was looking for work. And as I was going through the motions, a friend of mine in my contact base rang me and said, hey, Rob, I heard they're looking for a new general manager at the American Chamber of Commerce. Now, mind you, I'd found employment and I was contracting and stuff, but I wanted something permanent. And Mike says to me, they're looking for someone to be the general manager of AmCham. Are you interested? And I went, yeah. So he connected me to another contact of mine who didn't even know that I was looking. And so when I connected to him, said, yes, I'm looking, bang. I had a career for 7 years at the American Chamber of Commerce, through my network. And that's just that one example. I can give you thousands of examples of how you can use your network for business, for personal gain, for altruistic purposes, but it's up to you to make that personal value proposition to your network. And these are the people that will go out of their way to help you with an opportunity. Now, the question is, do you know what opportunities your network is looking for? That's another important question. It's not all about me. It's about what I can give to you. Having a network means you are to have a, let me rephrase that, to have a successful network. It's all about what you can give to that network, the value you add to it. If you just take, you will get nothing in return. People do not want to be surrounded by people who just take and suck their energy out of them. They want to be connected to people who open up and give them things and make them feel good about being their friend. So that's the second lesson. That's what networking is all about. It's about adding value. It's about growing a network of contacts, of connections that you can help and which in turn will help you. Does that make sense to everybody? Good. I see a few nodding heads. Okay, so how do you build a network? Well, it's a little difficult today because you can't go out, you can't shake hands, you can't look at someone in the eyes and talk to them. But you can still manage to do things like today, online. You can still socialize with people and get to know them and connect with them. You know, your virtual contacts, by virtual contacts, I mean just LinkedIn group contacts, don't have the same advantage of a network of people to whom you've made a real connection with. Keep that in mind. You know, and I strongly will promote and advocate that once you can go back to live events, go. That's definitely where you're going to make the connection. You're seeing me on 2D. Right? If I was in front of you, you would not only see me, you would feel my passion. You would be able to determine whether or not I'm just, you know, full of hot air or actually passionate about what I'm talking about. So use LinkedIn posts and comments to share and praise your connection. And I'd like to share an example with you. This is not mine. This is a contact of mine. This is the managing director of Mytronics. Now, Mytronics do copiers and office equipment, etc. The way Roger uses LinkedIn is amazing. So this is just one of his posts, by the way. So he's posted something about the company and the challenges to business today and how his company can help. This man here, this is Roger. He shares a lot of posts, but it doesn't just share or write posts, he comments on them. And as you can see, he will respond to a comment. He will say to someone, thank you for sharing. I appreciate your support. He's not just trying to sell his own stuff. I commented on a post, this post here about his business, and he was sharing a good article. And I commented on him, he responded to me, and he tags people in his responses. Can you all see that? As I said, he has 18,000 connections. He is a very, very connected individual who will help his connections, not just his clients, but his connections. Thank you for letting me share all this with you. So I suppose the third lesson is, what is a real connection? So today, networking is about real connection. What is that? A real connection is someone that you can rely on and trust and ask for a favor, and they will do it gladly and willingly. That's important. When you are in an event like this, when you are at a function, a live face-to-face function, it's important not to sell. And I go back to the very first thing I said when I prefaced this, we are all salespeople. You don't want to be selling anything at a function like this. What you want to do, if someone asks you to introduce yourself, it's as simple as this. Hi, my name's Robert Hossary. I'm a business recognition specialist at Lasercraft, and that's it. That's all you have to say. Now, that's going to get some people going, what the hell is a business recognition specialist? And that's what you want. And you say, look, I'm happy to discuss it with you. I can tell you about it. How about we go have another Zoom meeting, or I'll buy you a cup of coffee and we can discuss it. Take them out of that environment, because sure as anything, once you start saying, oh, well, we do this and we do that, and and you put all this together, someone's going to say, session's over or lunch is being served, and bang, you've lost that momentum. Accept the compliment that they want to know more, make a time and move on. Capture that, capture their information and get back to them. So with live events, it's more important that this happens in live events, simply because you're going to be interrupted, either by lunch being served or by someone else wanting to join your group. So just take the opportunity to say, happy to tell you more about it. Have you got a business card? I'll give you a call. Let's make a time. And then move on. But talk about them. Listen to what they have to say, and don't sell too much. Don't sell your product, because you can oversell. And that's important. The other thing with events, if you want to meet certain people in certain industries, then target them. If you're looking for HR contacts, target HR events. Go to them, virtual webinars, whatever. If it's a virtual event, have a pen and paper ready. Write down people's names. I can see Frankie's name, Jeff's name, Emery, Christopher, Joel, Menz, and I don't have the rest of yours, Christopher, but you've got all these names. Write them down. When they're introducing themselves, write down the company they're from, and then try and connect with them. You can easily connect with them on LinkedIn. So, with a quick little note, look, I was glad to hear what you had to say on the webinar. I'd very much like to connect with you and maybe have a longer conversation. So you can still do all of this. You can still build your network, but for God's sake, please connect with people that you can help and that can help you. Don't just connect with people that you want to sell to, because I'm afraid that's going to mean that you're not going to let me rephrase that. Let me start again, because I'm getting all tongue-tied. That means that they're not going to listen to you. Your reputation is not going to be what you think it is, because you'll be coming across as pushy. Nobody wants to be sold to. Your connections remember you. This is what this says. Your connections remember you because of your passion and your integrity. If you say you're going to follow up, if you're going to get back to them about something, then for God's sake, do it. Make sure you do it. Because that ultimately is the secret to all success in anything you do. Just do what you promise you do. So, you know, selling in events like this worked in the 70s, the 80s, maybe the 90s, not today. And that's the important part. You've got to remember that you're there to learn from the event, from the speaker, from whoever. Even if it's to learn how not to do something, you're there to learn. And respect the fact that other people are there for that too. It doesn't mean you can't connect with them. It doesn't mean you can't, you know, contact them. You can't know who they are. Get a list of names at live events. In events like these virtual events, write them down yourself. Some organizations, and I just finished a webinar with an association called Social Traders earlier on this week, and they sent me the names of everybody and the email addresses of everybody that was on the webinar. Of course, we all gave permission. And I have contacted each and every one of them and connected with them. So that's what you've got to do if you want to build your network. But build a quality network. As they say in IT, garbage in, garbage out. If you connect with people that just want to sell to you, then you've done nothing. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I've tried to keep it as brief as possible, understanding that if you want people to know who you are, then show them. Then be someone they want to know. Be the person that you are, not the person that you think they want you to be. And I guarantee you that they will, you know, they will make an excellent network of people who you can trust, who you can call on, and who you can help. That's it. Open to questions.
All right. Okay, we got the first questions from, okay. Actually, Jeremy made an interesting comment before. He wouldn't recognize 75% of his LinkedIn contact if they walk on the street. And also, Jeremy has another question to ask Rob.
Right, Jeremy, that's absolutely right.
Jeremy, would you like to unmute yourself and ask this question directly to Rob, please?
Hello, Robert.
Hello. Oh,
How are you?
See, there's another one of my wonderful network. Yes, Jeremy. How are you, buddy?
Oh, it's good to see you. So you showed that grid, and you showed premiers, and you showed prime ministers.
Yes.
People that you may consider to be, in terms of importance, several levels above where you sit.
Hang on a second. People that society considers important. I want to make that distinction.
Fair point. Look, I consider you more important than Prime Minister. There's no question about it.
You see what I mean, everybody? This is what happens when the network is full of people that you've helped and that can help you. They treat you like this.
I don't know if that's good or bad. So the question is, though, how do you add any value to those people in order to create that memorable relationship and a substantial relationship?
With top-level executives you're talking about?
Top-level executives and premiers, ex-premiers. I'm dealing with one at the moment. So it's a question of relevance to me.
Yeah, you got it in one, Jeremy. It is a question of relevance. It is very difficult to be relevant to an elected official. And I'm not being glib. I will try and answer this as best as I can. It's very difficult to be relevant to an elected official because all they want is to be re-elected. And that's the issue here. That's the problem with the world in general. I'll get off my soapbox now and try and answer your question. So if you're going to be relevant in an advocacy sense, then you need to do your homework. You need to really understand what drives that elected official in their electorate. And you need to push those buttons. Now, this is getting way beyond, the topic here, but it's not an easy thing to do because there are so many, in Australia especially, there are so many restrictions. But if you can couch your entire argument in a way that makes them comfortable that this is what their electorate wants, it could work. I'm sorry, I'm not to be more open with that, but it really is difficult. 7 years in the chamber, I have gone through 3 Australian governments, probably 4 prime ministers, and it's not easy, because once you get that affinity with a minister in one portfolio, sure enough, they move to another portfolio, and your leverage is pretty much gone within the portfolio. With the minister, it might be there. With the secretaries and the parliamentarians and the people in their office, maybe. It depends on your personality and how you've gotten along with them. But you become less and less relevant the further away they get from the portfolio that you were interested in. Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense.
All right, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Jeremy. And the next question comes from Ivy. Ivy, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, Robert. Hi, this is Ivy.
Hi, Ivy.
Yeah, my question is kind of similar to Jeremy. As a young professional, very early stage of my career, how do I add value to people if I want to reach out to seniors to learn from them? But like you mentioned that we should always offer something on the table first. So how does a young person do that, being really inexperienced?
Well, okay. Firstly, you're not inexperienced. That's the first lesson you need to learn. See, Duff's got his thumbs up. You're not inexperienced. You have a lot to offer. It mightn't be what you think it is. So you need to understand yourself first. You need to be more self-aware, more confident. And you don't have to offer something first. You just have to understand that you need to connect with people who can help you and who you can help. Now, you're saying you're a young professional, you're inexperienced. Well, I don't believe you're inexperienced. May I ask what line of business you're in?
I'm an aspiring lawyer, so I'm still getting trained to be a lawyer.
Okay. So, number one, you've got a grasp on, legal concepts and legal tenets. You understand academia, because unfortunately you have to with law. You understand contracts. You understand how to speak legalese. You're going to tell me that that's something nobody needs? Of course not. You've got a lot to offer. Now, as far as connections, it doesn't mean you need to be a lawyer for someone. It just means that you need to be authentic. You need to be Avy. You can't be Avy the lawyer. You need to be Avy Tran. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yeah, okay, sort of. But, you will find your own level with your network. You will find what you need to offer them as you get to know them. Does that work?
Yeah, for me, I find it hard to first establish that connection on LinkedIn to someone new who is really senior and up there.
Sure.
So how do I really show that I am sincere, that I want to learn from them, and what can I offer? I think it's hard to.
Well,
maybe I will need to have a bit of reflection on what
you've just done it, Avy. You've just done it. Hi, Robert. I've like let's say at the end of this, you connect with me on LinkedIn, and let's say you didn't ask this question. So the way I would approach it is, hi, Robert, I was at the presentation with PDF. I think that I could, learn more about this, this, and this. Can I connect with you, and can we have a conversation? And if you're going to connect with some random person on LinkedIn just because LinkedIn says, oh, look, these are the people you should connect to, that's not going to work. You need to connect with people you know. Now, if you look at the screen, how many of the people here do you know? How many webinars? You were at the other webinar with Ranil that I was at. Have you connected with anyone else that was in that webinar? No.
No.
And that's the point I'm making. Don't wait. Go out. Be confident in who you are and connect with people knowing that you can help them. You can help them understand. For example, you could help a senior executive understand young professionals better than they do. And there's a lot of senior executives there that have no idea how to work with, young professionals. Some of them have no idea how to work. But anyway, I'm hoping that that's answered that question. It's a very deep question. It will take more than the 15 minutes we got left. And look, you got my details. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Talk to me. I'm happy to have a conversation with you, Anne. Avi?
All right, cool. Thank you.
Certainly a good answer from Robert. Thank you for asking the question, Ivy. And then the next question, I will invite Duff Watkins.
Yeah, no, let's go to the next question. You got to unmute, Duff. You got to unmute.
I'm still dealing with technology. See, Ivy knows more about technology than me. That's what she can offer the senior partners at the law firm. But of course, everybody knows more about technology than me. Hoss, what about when people are not grateful? They don't remember the assistance that you gave them. They've completely forgotten. They've developed amnesia about all the times you've helped them. What do you do then?
You give more of yourself. Look, people are human beings. Are human beings. No, I can hear you. Human beings are human beings. You get to a limit. If someone's just going to take all the time, then of course, as a human being, you're going to go, enough, no more. But, you give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they forgot. Maybe they didn't put as great a value on what you have offered as you think they should have. It's not, you're going to come across this, everybody. You're going to come across this. You're going to, in your careers, in your life, where you've done so much for someone and they've done nothing for you, or they don't appreciate what you've done. That's life. And in business, that's life. Working for an organization for 8 years, for 7 years, as I have, many organizations for 6, 7, and 8 years, and I can show you the lack of appreciation that I was given. But you know what? Tough. They owe me nothing. And that's the people I worked for who paid me. Now, what about my network who didn't pay me, who owed me even less than that? They're there for me. And I will use people like Jeremy, I will use people like Duff, I will use people like Emery to say that these people have always been there for me when I've asked them to be. And I have always been there for them when they've asked me to be. Look, Duff, yeah, you're right. It's an excellent point you make. And it's very good for everyone to understand that, yes, you can give of yourself, and sometimes you'll be taken advantage of. As long as you are prepared, it should be, you'll get over it.
Well, I guess I've known Rob for about 150 years, folks. So, I mean, that's So, and he and I have discussed this before. So I think it really comes down to, and I know Rob is a genuine networker. He actually walks the talk, and he actually looks to connect people for the right reasons, for good reasons. But not everybody is like that. So I guess I'm agreeing with you, Rob. You do it because it's who you are. And if it's not who you are, that's perfectly acceptable too. But if it is who you are, then you be true to yourself, and you do that without expectation or benefits, because you're being true to yourself. You're not. Yep. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely, Duff. Absolutely.
Thank you, Duff, and thank you, Robert. The next question comes from Jeffrey Wang. Jeff?
All right, okay. So Jeffrey here. I'd just like to acknowledge that we were joined by some global guests today. This is the first time PDF has actually gone global, so welcome all. That's not from Australia. My question is that, Rob, seeing as you've had such a global career and obviously worked around multiple continents and different jurisdictions, the networking rules you spoke about earlier, which I can certainly identify with, that I know it's true in Australia, is that the same? Is that universal across the globe?
No. However, I'll answer your question, Jeff. No, it's not global. And I'll give the example. When I was in Taiwan, I worked in Taiwan for a number of years. The only place where my style worked was in the American Chamber of Commerce and the British Chamber of Commerce, because that's where all the expats were. It truly is a Western style of networking. It did not work in in Taiwan with the Asian population, because that's not their custom. That's not what they're used to. It works in, it's definitely Western. It was no problems in the Americas, whether it's North or South. So in the Hispanic or in the Spanish-speaking parts of South America, Portuguese-speaking part, which is Brazil, and in Mexico, in United States and in Canada, no problems. This style works because it's genuine. With Taiwan, it didn't work, not because it wasn't genuine, but because it was foreign. And I didn't take the time to understand how do I put it, the cultural ramifications. And it's not like the Japanese thing, with business cards and bowing. It's none of that crap. I'm not talking, surface garbage that you'll read in books. I am talking down to the business culture within an organization. So the Taiwanese business culture and their business mentality is slightly different to the Western business mentality. There is a level of trust there that does not extend out, depending on the business owner and the senior executive, does not extend out to Westerners, because they've been screwed too many times. And let's face it, that's probably exactly why it doesn't work, because I wasn't trusted. However, having said that, once I gained trust of the president of the company, once I gained trust of the founders and all the senior executives, I was a golden-haired boy. I got no hair, but I was a golden-haired boy, because we made things work. And I showed them respect, and they showed me respect. So, no, it doesn't work all over the world. Please, if you are going to work internationally, then take the time to understand the business culture. Having said all of that, I don't know I don't know of a place on this planet where being authentic is not going to work for you. We all see the inauthentic nature of the leadership in the United States today, and there's not a person on the planet that thinks, yeah, well, this guy's fantastic because, you know, he's great. They all think he's a joke because he's not authentic. And that's the whole point. Be authentic. But please, you know, great point, Jeffrey, please learn the business culture, not only of the country you're in, but of the company you work for. Because networking isn't just outside of your organization. Networking is within your organization. So that's very important to understand that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. That's brilliant. Next question comes from Adiba Jarin. Adiba, do you want to ask the question directly?
Hi. Hello, everyone. Hi, Robert.
Hello, Adiba.
Hi. So I actually wanted to ask that since I'm trying to keep all of my options open for networking, so if there's an employer that has recently rejected my job and sent back an email that we are not considering you for an interview, but maybe in the future we can, if something comes up, we can work on that. So do you think it's plausible to continue? Maybe connect to him somehow? Is it better, or is it just better to maybe just wait and look for future job openings or something like that? And similar question I have for like if okay, just first answer this one, then I'll ask the next one.
Okay, there is absolutely no harm in connecting with the prospective employer. I will give you something that I used to do when I was looking for a permanent position. I would look at the job. I would find who posted the job, so who the managers are, who's going to interview me, and then I would look through my LinkedIn connections to see who knew someone there. And I would go and approach them and say, hey, do you know this person? Yes, no. If it was a yes, I'd tell my contact what I was trying to do, and my contact would invariably put in a good word for me and get me at least into the door. Not the contact wouldn't get me, but because they've recommended me, I would at least open a door for me to get in front of them.
Yes.
But my advice to you is keep looking. You want to work for people who want to work with you.
Yes, definitely. So I have similar question to this one. For example, if I'm already working for an employer, but I'm actually trying to maybe leave the job, for another one. So is it also like possible to keep the connection on just for future, or do you think things get weird, and it's better to keep the connection off, or what do you suggest?
Adiba, you need to be, as I said before, authentic.
Yeah.
If you're working for someone who you respect, then it might be worthwhile having a conversation with them directly, and saying, hey, look, I'm not happy, or I need this, or this is a situation, and I can't stay here if this is going to happen. Now, I understand that's a dangerous prospect in a lot of companies, and especially in this environment, it's not a good thing to do. Because if you end up unemployed without another job, I get all of that. I understand that. But, and not all managers manage the way I used to manage. I mean, I would help my team find other jobs. I would actually encourage them to move on if they've outgrown the position.
Yeah.
Wouldn't fire them because I didn't want to lose them. They were fantastic people.
Yes.
But for the sake of their own career, they needed to take the next step.
Exactly.
These people are still in contact with me. I actually fired someone in the United States who still is in contact with me because, that was the relationship we had.
So we need more people like you, actually, Yeah. So
Thank you. I would like to work for someone like me sometimes.
Yeah, thank you so much for your insight. I hope it will help me, in my future endeavors. Yeah.
As I said, and as I said to Avi, I'll say the same thing to everybody on this chat. Look me up on LinkedIn. Happy to connect with you. Just send me a message. Please don't just send a blank, hey, invitation. Put a little message down, and once you are connected, you'll have access to my email address and phone numbers. Happy to have conversations to help if I can.
Sure. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We have the next question come from Ragnar Horn. Sorry, I spelled it wrongly. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, my name is Richna, and I volunteer for MIT Human Resources Association Student Club, so I'm also a student there. And I'm looking to organize how to network event for the university student there. And I was wondering if you have any advice for me in terms of what key points I should include or address in the event.
Pretty much what I've said. Is it Ragnar? Is it Ragnar or Rachna?
Richna.
Richna. Okay. Pretty much what I've said. Networking, it's important to be authentic. So we're just recapping now. So it's important to be authentic.
Yep.
It's important to be confident. And it's important to listen, not to oversell. In a student networking event, what is the purpose? That's the question I've got for you. What is the purpose of the network? Why are they networking? What are they networking with the faculty? Are they networking with other students? Are they networking in a business or an intern, perspective? Why are they there? And that will then determine what they should say and how they should present themselves. So, again, we're running out of time. So give me a call. I'm happy to take this offline with you and give you more information on this, and maybe a longer discussion or a deeper thought into it.
Right. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much, Robert, for that fascinating talk. I'm sure everyone got something helpful from that session.
I hope so. Thank you. And I want to thank you all for allowing me to share this with you today. Thank you for the honor of being here. I know that sounds wanky, but I actually mean it.
Everyone, can you give a thumbs up to Robert for showing the appreciations? Great, thank you so much.
You.
Yep, I would like also thanks to everyone for attending this event. And if you want to know more about our upcoming events, please visit us on Facebook and LinkedIn, where you can also subscribe to our mailing list. You can visit our website too at www.professionaldevelopmentforum.org. Our next event topic will be how to thrive in the era of global tensions with Jason Lee, and it will take place at 6 p.m. on Thursday, 20th of August. So once again, thank you very much to everyone for attending. We hope to see you again soon at our next event, and have a lovely evening.